Hello everyone, welcome to the Art of Storytelling program. Did you know that April 27th is National Tell Me a Story Day? When I think about someone telling stories, I think about librarians and teachers, listening to camp counselors tell stories around a campfire. Whoa, we didn't have any bears when I went camping. And bedtime stories that parents and grandparents tell while kids are snuggled up in bed or sitting outside on a porch. You can tell a story that you've memorized, retell a story, make one up, or even write one. It's a great skill to learn and practice. Adults can start encouraging young kids to use their imagination through simple activities such as using stamp and ink pads. For example, if I use these stamps, I could make up a story about a beautiful white cat that lived in a gray castle. You can use things around the house like bookmarks, stickers, and playing cards. The lifeguard playing card could help you create a story about a lifeguard who saved a puppy that wandered into a pool area. Tell a story about your pet's life, like when it was born, or something funny about your pet. If you don't have a pet, you could talk about one that you would like to have someday. Try using toys, puppets, stencils, or rubbing plates, and puzzles. If you use puzzles, you could make up a story about a safari trip, or what it would be like to live on Old MacDonald's farm. You can find feltboard stories at teacher stores or on the internet. They can help you retell popular stories. Can you guess what this feltboard story is about? Did you say the gingerbread man? You were correct. Check out this book in our collection for more information on storytelling activities to do at home. I really enjoyed reading parts of this book called Super Simple Storytelling by Kendall Haven. I learned that storytelling has multiple benefits, including building language arts skills. Did you know it's possible to remember things for longer periods of time if you hear it from a storyteller? It suggests that a story can be written around 4 main character elements. The parts include characters, their goals, conflicts, and struggles to reach their goals. When researching the elements or parts of storytelling, I looked online and used different books. I noticed that several people have different opinions about the elements of storytelling. There are many tools created to encourage using the elements, such as this Build a Story Flipbook. If you don't have a Flipbook, you can make your own cards. It focuses on the 4 elements of character, setting, event, and conclusion. You can flip through it and choose different cards to help you build a story. Let's flip through it and see what we can find. See a zebra, a girl, a farmer, a lobster. How about a story about a lobster who lives in a grocery store, got out of the tank. Let's see what our conclusion could be. Ran away, ate food. A lobster at a grocery store, got out of a tank, and was found in a cart. Now I'm going to tell you a story about a lobster using the Flipbook and what we've learned today. Have you ever seen one up close? Let's take a few minutes to watch them. Aren't they neat? Okay, so sit back on the couch or snuggle on the floor and close your eyes as you think about what I'm saying. If you don't want to close your eyes, you can watch my ocean scene on the computer while I'm telling my story. Are you ready? It's called Lulu the Lobster. Once there was a little red lobster named Lulu. Lulu had a tough shell, long prickly antennae, and strong sharp claws. Even though she was tough on the outside, Lulu had a soft heart. Her favorite thing in the world was to see kids smile. Lulu lived in a lobster tank at the back of a small grocery store. The store was always full of kids from the neighborhood. When they came in, they would run into the store, dragging their parents straight to the back to see Lulu in her tank. Sometimes she would look up and see a giant pair of kid eyes staring at her. One day, those giant eyes belonged to her friend Jimmy. Jimmy loved Lulu and would visit her all the time. Jimmy was with a group of friends, and some of them were waving and gently tapping on the glass to say hello to Lulu. She was so excited to see them, she did a swim show. She started moving around and around in circles, did front flips, and ended the show with a set of back flips. You could hear the clapping and cheering throughout the whole store. Yet this time, when Lulu was doing her flips, she noticed the seaweed in her tank was growing out of the tank and onto the countertop. That's odd, Lulu thought. Then her eyes began to sparkle. You see, Lulu truly loved her home and the sweet kids. But at night, when everyone left the store and she was all alone, she would often dream of seeing the amazing world outside of her lobster tank. So once the store was empty, all the lights were out, and the doors locked, Lulu started to slowly climb up the seaweed. Early the next morning, when Jimmy went to see Lulu, she was gone. All that was left was an empty tank, a wet strip of seaweed piled on the floor, and wet footprints around the tank. Jimmy ran to the front of the store and yelled to the manager, "Lulu's missing!" The manager dropped his white powdered donut he was eating for breakfast and asked, "What?" as powder from the donut flew through his mustache and into the air. "Lulu's gone," shouted Jimmy, pointing to the back of the store. The manager, Jimmy, and a group of kids who overheard the noise went running to the back. When they got to the tank, they stood in shock with their mouths open. All they could hear was a faint gurgle and slurp from the water filter. The manager picked up the phone on the wall and yelled over the loudspeaker, "Alert, alert, go to your store areas, code 547, Lulu the Lobster is missing." Gasps and whispers were heard around the store as people began to realize what happened. The store employees went to their emergency areas. The customers came running to the back to find out what the manager wanted them to do next. The manager continued over the loudspeaker, "Okay, staff, search your areas. I need all the customers to choose an aisle to search. Everyone look high and low. We don't know how long Lulu's been out of her tank, and every second is critical. Some lobsters can survive out of the water for up to 5 days in a cool area, but Lulu was special. She had breathing issues and may not make it long without water." The manager and Jimmy searched the fish section to see if she was there. Jimmy also checked out the footprints around her tank. Maybe they were a clue. 10 minutes went by, then 15 minutes. Still no Lulu. The manager and Jimmy realized the footprints were from Freddie the tank man who cleaned Lulu's tank. Freddie cleaned her water filter that morning, but he said he didn't even notice that Lulu was gone. As Jimmy was talking to Freddie, he heard a loud shout coming from aisle 3. "I found Lulu!" yelled a toddler. Everyone hurried to the aisle and saw a girl holding a stuffed animal lobster from the toy area. The manager yelled, "False alarm! It was just a toy! Everyone keep looking!" Sirens blared as a giant fire truck pulled into the parking lot. The local fire department's search and rescue team was there to help. The captain asked Jimmy to line up shopping carts and block off already searched areas. Jimmy called his friends over to help. Just as he grabbed a shopping cart, he saw some toilet paper rolls in the cart. One of the rolls started to move and wiggle. He looked closer and saw a tiny red claw sticking out. Could it be? He reached down and carefully flipped over the roll, and out came Lulu. Jimmy couldn't believe it. It was Lulu. "I found her," Jimmy shouted. "I found her." The manager and the captain rushed over to him and jumped for joy. "Good job, Jimmy," they said, patting him on the back. The firefighters used their breathing machine to check Lulu's oxygen level and said she was fine. The manager told Jimmy he could take Lulu to her home in the back of the store. Everyone clapped and cheered as they moved through the crowd. Jimmy looked down with a big smile and noticed a tear slowly dropping from Lulu's eye. "Wait, everyone," Jimmy said, as he quickly stopped the cart. "Lulu's sad. I wonder what's wrong. Why did she try to get out of her tank?" A little boy answered, "Maybe she needed food." "No," Jimmy said, "she has plenty of food." "Well," said Jimmy, "I was thinking, we all get to visit Lulu and walk around the store, but Lulu has to stay in her tank. Maybe she wants to go on an adventure and look around the store." Lulu looked up at Jimmy with a heart full of love and waved her little claws. The customers, firefighters, and staff waved and smiled at Lulu and Jimmy as he continued to push her in the cart up and down the aisles around the whole store. If you ever visit that grocery store on the first Saturday of the month, you might see Jimmy pushing Lulu in a special cart made just for her as she goes on an adventure. I wonder how she got in a toilet paper roll inside a grocery cart in the first place. I guess we'll never know. The end. Last, here's some books in our collection to give you some storytelling ideas of your own. I used to read picture books to kids without showing the pictures on the first day, and then I would read the book the next day and show them the pictures. That way they could compare what they saw using their imagination versus what the illustrator drew. And here are 2 wordless picture books, along with a mostly wordless picture book, that can help you create a story by looking at the pictures. I hope you had as much fun as I did today and want to go tell some stories. See you later!